with the other ones. Hello. Hello. Yeah. I don't know, man. There's something weird going on here. Don't know what it is yet, but there's something odd afoot. Could be the time of which I'm streaming. Maybe it's too late for because I think I was starting to be recommended in a way, like I would show up in some people's feed. Hopefully. What? Come. What is this? Hey, how are you, Stephanie? What is going on here? What? Alright, cool. Where's... Oh, it's asking me for other stuff. Of course. Oh, good to hear. Sorry, I'm trying to... Like, I thought I was already live on TikTok, but apparently I wasn't. Let me lower the music. It's a little bit loud for me. That's better. Okay. Anyway, it's been rough. It's been rough. Finding it hard to get the motivation to do this stuff, even though I was saying yesterday that I'm really self-motivated for the most part. I'm not the type of person that waits for somebody else to kind of help them get motivated. Uh, what I mean is, like, I'm usually not seeking a external motivation to do certain things. Um, with that said, I wouldn't say I'm the best at it. But yeah. Sorry. Let me just salute. Yeah. Dark coffee. The freaking best. Okay. 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 Right. Yeah. As I was saying, I think I was being, like, pushed a little bit on people's feed, but maybe. Oh, you bought acrylic markers, but what, like Posca? Acrylic markers are freaking awesome. They're really awesome. They're kind of they're kind of expensive, but they're really cool. Um, the best, well, the only ones I bought have been these ones. Okay, yeah, yeah I bought this Posca markers like one at the time. Like, I don't know, there were a few months in between each one, Uh, I can only imagine the people. There's some people that buy like a whole stack. I don't know how they do it. It's really expensive. It's not cheap for sure. I mean, sorry for that. I just in the camera there and get this a little bit better. Not not in the best shape today. I look like a mess. Anyhow, um, yeah, I chose another. I would say easy, 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 quote unquote picture. Um, yeah, just taking it easy. Let's see like how it goes. I guess lately I've been feeling it. It's been rough. It's been a rough few days, weeks, and months. I don't know. I guess every now and then you feel the effects of being an immigrant and all that comes with it, and sometimes just life in general. I think, uh, yeah, that's too philosophical for this moment. But back to your uh, acrylic markers. I really like acrylic markers. Well, uh, I'm pretty sure nobody from my country would have thought that they would be an immigrant if you ask them a few years back. If you look into it, we are we like historically people didn't leave my country. They migrated into my country a lot of the times, and there's still some people that went to my country at some point, like when they were younger, and they never left. So yeah, for us culturally, it has also been like I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like culturally shocked by being in a completely different context, and like you have to play by different rules, and the way people connect with each other is completely different, and so on and so forth. Like I would say I've been one of the very few that have been outside my country before it was like the gigantic migration that we gotten. Uh, Meaning like for long periods of time before there was this whole migration. Of course, I did go back, but for example, the times I went to Canada, it was also kind of like seeing, like, just gauging if maybe that place could be a good fit for me to follow a life path there, because the industry where I'm from is really small, and it's mostly, let's say, it's mostly advertising. We don't have a big film industry by any means. we have a small one, and it's kind of like a club of sorts. Uh, and yeah, then you come to find out that it's not only there, there's kind of a club, but that's a different story altogether. Yeah, but I don't know if I just uh, I don't know how to translate. Like if I got you DC with with all my yapping about that, but um, give me a second. But I did have to, like, we all had to kind of adapt to the new circumstances. And there's a lot of people that I think they left thinking that I don't know what they were thinking, but there's some people that I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to get criticized for my point of view about this, but I don't know. There's there are different types of thought process. It's not thought process. It's frames of mind regarding going to a new place. So yeah, it's kind of a learning curve of sorts, and you have to go through like a no, I wouldn't say motivations. It's like some people, like when you immigrate, you have to adapt to this new reality, to this new context. And there's some people that I believe they leave thinking that things are gonna be similar, or expecting for things like I did well with this thing back home, so maybe it's gonna be the same outside, and it's usually not the case. It's a completely different context, and having to face that reality, it's not easy. So that's kind of what I'm referring to, and yeah, I'm like I know how tough it is, so I don't judge anyone uh, that had to migrate, but I also think what I'm mentioning. Uh, but yeah, hopefully things will get better over time, not only in my country but all around the world. Yeah, I don't know if that what I just said makes any sense, but yeah. Salud. I've been going for simpler images. I over the weekend we were watching YouTube. And I was watching YouTube with my wife, and we found this video. Like I just saw it by chance. Like there was something that popped up on her feed, There are overwhelming number of people here who had. Oh yeah, that's actually fairly common. Um, that you cannot like do the thing like your career, your original path. You cannot pursue that for, I don't know. If it's like medicine, you have to get license at the very least, and you have all this other stuff you have to deal with. So those ones are really constrained, uh, based on the nature of what they do. I think depending on the career, you can get lucky. Like if it's coding, for example, if you're a programmer, that is like you can go to almost everywhere, I think, and work the same way because the code is not gonna change. It's the same language. Even though I believe there are some people that have made like versions of language to program for their countries. I think they have one here that they created locally and in different places. But overall, like if you know how to do that in in whatever place you come from, you can probably do it elsewhere. But medicine, law, um, engineering, maybe depending on the type of engineering, you can do a smoother transition. Although engineers in general, they're lucky in the fact that most countries need engineers, so they're always looking for people. It's a high paying job, and it's probably easier for them. Hello. Um, but to your point, yeah, there's a lot of people that are kind of just having to figure it out. I've heard of people that have professions and then they have to like, I don't know, dry clean uh, carpets for a living, and probably I believe they do like really good living because they make a company, and it's like it's hard. It's a hard job, so it's well paid. I think they must charge by like the square foot or something. So yeah, there's a lot of people that just had to transition into something else. When I first got here, I had to work in something kind of close to what I do, but not exactly. So I had to do like a transition job, you could say, for some time, and eventually I was able to get a position in something more related to what I do. So it's something that most people go through, and yeah, it's a tough thing to deal with because, as you're saying, like getting a profession takes a lot of time, effort, money, and a bunch of stuff. And I don't know, it can be disheartening at times, but I guess a really important thing is to just keep going. That's why I say about determination. and I guess resilience. I don't know if I translated that well. Resiliencia in Spanish. Um, what the? Oh, this is probably gonna be one of those drawings that I don't like. I just change the measurement here. Well, maybe maybe I avoided it. Let's see. Wow. Okay. And this goes here. And you have this division right here. Oh, yeah, that's more related to the drawing. I was saying that we were watching YouTube and I found a video about this dude that have a has a YouTube channel about I think I don't know if all the animals he has are rescue, but he has a bunch of lions. So the video was him like going for a walk with a giant lion, and it was incredible to see because the lion behaved like a dog or like a giant puppy with him. I believe because he was raised by this group of people, but probably like especially by this dude. Probably he feeds them. So uh, basically, like the animals assume like he's like a father figure or something because they didn't act uh, aggressively towards him. But it's really rough to see. Like it's mind-boggling because you know how dangerous those animals are. Uh, but this dude just chills with them. I don't know. I find it hard to trust. Uh, Meaning the reaction of the animal because there has been multiple people that had lions, and I like I haven't heard of many that if it's not like you have them in their cages and you feed them and that's it. If you start to like break that distinction, yeah, I've heard horrible stories. So I was like, this is really mind-boggling. It was a incredible video, and it was really cool to see um, those creatures behave like that. It's I think it's a good way to bring awareness to other people about uh, why we have to protect these creatures. But at the same time, like maybe maybe you need to get in with the animals on their enclosures. Um, I don't know if you can call them enclosures because they're like in a reservoir or uh, what's the name? This is basically their own savanna, a private savanna for these animals, and they seem well fed and so on. So, but again, it's still a wild creature. So who says that it cannot like jump on you and just you know what? I'm feeling a little bit uh, like I want to bite something, and that thing is like 2 tons, and you're like 80 kilograms. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's also because I grew up, like, I grew up with National Geographic and watching as many documentaries as I could see. So even though I appreciate nature and wildlife, I also know that like I always been I've been talking about this before. Like bears, you don't wanna get near them. I don't know if I told this story. Actually, this is the now that I think of it, this is the best story I have uh, about the like going into the wild. Um, so I when we were living in California, we went to a park. I don't know if whoever's watching, I don't know if you, Stephanie, know about this, but there's a park called King Canyon in California. I'm, I'm, as far as I can remember, it's in California. So it's a giant uh, natural park, and you have this. The amazing part about the park is the giant trees that they have there, the sequoia trees. So that's where we were going, and that thing has like a stay. Yeah, it has a place where you can stay in it. And what I didn't know, well, I was like, I must have been like 10, 9, 10 or something. And yeah, I actually like the story. So I like the story now that I can say it, uh, but at the time it's different. So they have this place. What I didn't know at the time was that place has bears that can be gigantic, grizzly bears, and probably they have black bears, but the grizzlies are the ones that, oh Jesus, they're freaking scary. So I go with my family to that thing, to that park, and with the idea of learning about the trees and so on, and be with nature for it was a weekend, I believe. So we go to the thing. It takes a long time to get there from where we were. Uh, I don't know, like 6 hours or 4 hours. It seemed like it was forever to get there. We got there by bus, like a shuttle that takes you to the park. Uh, Everything freaking awesome. We were all stoked to be there. The place is gorgeous. If you haven't, I would uh, recommend anyone to go to that park. It's incredible. I really like it. Uh, Having said this, we had limited time, of course, because it was a weekend, as far as I remember. Maybe it was, I don't know, 4 days, but as far as I remember, it was over the weekend. Maybe you can count 3 days if you take Friday off. Anyhow, we go for a walk, hike on this park that has a bunch of trails, and Um, we start walking and we walk and we walk and we're side viewing and all that, taking pictures with the trees and so on and so forth. Well, this park and those three trees, they tell you that they need fire in order for them to be healthy actually. So it's, yeah, it's part of their ecosystem. So they get burned and they reheal themselves. It's a whole thing. Well, by the time we were getting back, it was like 5 p.m., maybe 4 p.m. We were walking. We go to like to the outskirts of the park that I think it goes to like a rock and you can see out to probably a lake. I don't remember if it was probably a lake. I don't believe that the sea gets it's close to that. So we're getting back and we're walking through the forest, and in the process of this, because there's been a fire recently, there's a lot of firefighters and like hoses on the floor and so on and so forth. And we're all walking. Uh, my dad is in front of me, and we were four people, and we're just walking, like taking it easy because we were all going in kind of the same direction as most people, and we were watching like the firefighters and so on and so forth. But because there was this fire, you didn't have the railings of the trails, so like, okay, it probably it's just this small sector and a little bit more, and you can find the railings again and just keep going with your trail. And you're not thinking about this part uh, when you're doing this. So that should tell you how easy it is for anybody to go through what I'm mentioning. So we keep walking and we keep walking and we keep walking and we keep walking, and the the light starts to dim because it was already 4 or 5, and we started to like get a little bit anxious, like, hey, do you know where we are? Are we walking in the right direction? Is because we at the in the beginning we were watching, as I said, the firefighters and so on, but after a while you couldn't see anybody that wasn't us, and it started to get like darker and darker and darker. I like, oh my god, we're freaking lost in this park, and yeah, uh, we started to like panic a little bit. Luckily, sorry. Luckily, my dad. I think I mentioned that he's in the military. Now retired, but he was military, so he's been trained in how to read the stars to navigate. Uh, but we were like fairly lost. Usually, the way, like, he taught me a little bit about how to, like, at least he taught me like how to use the compass, how to read maps, that sort of thing. What I don't know how to do is what he knows how to do about the stars, like guiding himself. He taught me a little bit about that, but not everything he knows because they have like a whole course about that. Anyhow, the thing is, now it's like completely dark, and I remember when we got there, the the during like at night, that place has a like an eating place, like a lunch area. You go in. First off, they tell you you have to be careful with bears because they're really big bears here, and you have to be mindful of them. And don't leave any food outside. Don't leave anything outside because they look for food. They have really good noses, so they can smell it miles away. They tell you all this, and when you're eating, it's the biggest bear I have ever seen. It was like, I don't know, 3 meters. Uh, At the time, it looked like it was like 4 meters tall, standing on the entrance of the lunch area. So, oh, and I didn't mention this other part. When we got back to the when we during the night before we got lost, when we got to the place where we were staying, I believe a bear came because the access to the area where uh, the beds are, you basically walk. It's like a wooden place, cabins sort of thing. So you basically walk through uh like a little uh, bridge, a small bridge. You walk, and then they have the rooms, different floors, and so on. The doors are like this thick, and I remember that I believe a bear was like outside, and you could hear him. Woo, woo. That's freakish. That was freakish. So imagine we we already had that experience the night before, which was fairly scary, and we're like, okay, this thing is gonna come into the room and just obliterate us. That didn't happen. It probably just walked by and left. But on my mind, that was what was gonna happen. Having said this, then you fast forward. We're lost. It's already dark, and we're in the middle of that forest. To with like this is before cell phones, so imagine uh, kind of the panic, um, the mental panic. We didn't like start running or anything. It was like, oh shoot, we should get out of here. And we were already tired because we've been walking for hours already, and we had some. The other thing on my mind was we have some food with us. What if one of those things smells whatever we have? Like we had like certain things, nothing because you what you do is you put it on a pack, and you put it on a bag, so it doesn't. The idea is for the smell not to get to them. So we're dealing with this. My dad's like he. I don't remember if by that time he was, because normally I would help him navigate basically, but I don't remember if that, like, by that time, I was helping him. I don't know how. I don't remember clearly, um, because I was scared. So I that part, like, I think he was like, "Oh, come on, give me a thing." I think I had the map or something. So we would have to, like, look with the with a small light to see where we were or where we thought we were, and try to figure out how much we had to walk and all that. So we're in the middle of this. We start walking. He started to find his direction. I'm like, okay, let's just try to get out of here. We walk and we walk, and I don't know where where these people came from, but we found two uh, people from Spain, like, of all places. Two people from Spain in the middle of a freaking forest at night. Of course, they were also uh, lost, the same as us. But it was that added to the whole thing because it was a couple, and the lady just kept on saying, "Oh, the forest is gorgeous at night." And I'm like, "Dude, I just want to get out of here. What are you saying?" Like, why are you thinking about that? Like, we just need to get out of here. You have no idea where we are. That thing, that park has wolves, and it has bears. I I didn't even consider that, probably pumas too, like, mountain lions. So I was like, because I know all this, I'm in my mind. I'm freaking out. I'm like, I'm really tired, but like, we also need to get out of here. Like, everything hurt, knees, legs, everything. So we kept on walking and dealing with this couple that were talking weird things, and eventually, after, I think it was like 2 hours, I believe we got out of the thing like at 10 p.m. maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I would be inclined to say that that was the case. You mean like the forest was gorgeous at night? Maybe, I don't know. It was weird. What it was weird to us is, like, where the heck did you come from? Like, we were. It was only our group was 4 people, and all of a sudden these two people came out of nowhere in the middle of the night. So it was already kind of like, we're already a little bit panicky, and you add this, like, I don't know if these are crazy people. So we were kind of all nervous about it, and we were speaking about it after the fact. um Maybe I'm mixing up. I don't remember if we went to eat after the fact. I just wanted to go back to the room and rest. Uh, but I don't think we could. It Like, when you get that level of tired that you cannot you cannot go to sleep, because everything hurts. Uh, it was that wasn't Oh my god, that was an experience. Yeah. So whenever I see somebody interacting with like an apex predator, like it is a puppy or something, it freaks me out a little bit. Like, I don't know if people are. I think there's maybe there's a phenomenon that happens to people thinking that, oh, I'm safe, like a false sense of safety to kind of like cope with the reality or something. uh, or you're so used to a creature like that behaving that you lower your guard, and yeah, it's still a freaking force of nature, literally. It doesn't like, even though it can connect with you, probably, maybe, it's, yeah, sorry, it's a predator. Yeah. that that potentially is the case too. But I mean, in the case that I'm talking about, it seems like it's one of those people that protects animals, and like, activists, and yeah, they take care of those creatures. So I don't know, maybe because they know about the behavior of the animal, they kind of feel more comfortable doing certain things around them. But that's not that's not safe. Like Steve Irwin, that was that was really sad what happened to him. Um, and of all creatures, the 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 accident that he unfortunately went through was like the most freakish thing, uh, because he was dealing all the time with giant crocs all the time, uh, and then a creature that you wouldn't expect gets him. It's, I don't know. It's one of those things that I cannot put my head around. But yeah, I think there's something to what I'm saying about a false sense of safety. Uh, that's why I was talking about the experience of being lost in the woods, because it's like, my thought was, it's the equivalent of being in a savanna where there are lions, hyenas, and so on, jaguars, all this hippos, all this bunch of creatures that can, like, megafauna. Yeah, there would be megafauna. So this big creatures that can uh, uh, unalive you fairly easy. So my mind just, like, we need to get out of here. Hopefully, really fast. Uh, I couldn't conceive like, oh, let me. Uh, like I get it. I would be way less stressed if I knew we had like a shotgun or that sort of thing, because yeah, at least you have that cover, or bear spray for instance, that actually, yeah, we should have probably have bear spray, but I don't know if it existed at the time. Now if I go to a park like that, in a heartbeat I would have like a giant bear spray thing with me, uh, just in case. You never know what you might encounter, like this crazy people in the middle of the night. Like, what the freaking weird are you doing in the middle of the night? And the, I'm gonna say also this: they were super lucky to find us. If they didn't, they would be still on that forest. And well, luckily that didn't happen. But that was that was a stressful experience. Uh, Now looking back, I like to tell the story because we were able to get out, and we have this anecdote that I didn't expect having. But I can also see how somebody can get lost in a freaking forest unknowingly, like like that, and you'll notice, and you're walking thinking that, oh, it must be in this direction. Yeah, it's better if you double check that. Um, yeah, I think it's important to keep an eye on that, and also like how easy it is to, like, we live in cities and in concrete all the time. Uh, it's easy to forget how our ancestors were living, and why we started to build in concrete and so on to begin with. Uh, yeah, it was the other part of it. It was a reality check about how different our lives are now than what it was before, and to kind of be mindful of your surroundings, and don't don't feel too comfortable in a place where they're like lions, for example. At least that's what I got from it. Like, it's better to be cautious than than sorry. That's not exactly how that goes, but so yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed my story. Um, I don't remember if I have other stories like that, but that's like my prime story about getting lost. Luckily, we got out uh, that same night. I was thinking that we were gonna be lost for a couple days, really. But luckily, we were not. Uh, we walked to we basically we eventually found a road, and the moment we saw cars passing, like the light from cars, we're like, oh, thank God. Uh, that's when we knew we were clear. Um, what there's a really funny. There's a comedian from my country that he is like the story I just told. Luckily, we got out quickly. Well, but that's it can be a different type of danger in a big city, so you still have to be careful. Like I remember, I remember. I think it was the first time or the second time we went to uh, Reno, Nevada. We were walking, and I think we like turned a corner or something, and we had to go through like this, like alley to get to the hotel. Like the shortest way to the hotel was through an alley, and that was a mistake. Like there were like two or three people that were, I don't know, on something, and or maybe like lost it. They were lost in their own uh, whatever world, and yeah, it can get really dangerous on certain cities too. So yeah, the good thing is that you can call someone or get a cab, or it's a completely different thing if you're in the middle of nowhere. So oh, what I was saying is that there's this comedian. By the way, I don't know Chicago. I only know Toronto. I think Chicago is really close to Toronto. Am I just making that up? Uh, so I know that it's really cold in Chicago a lot of the time, and it has a lake, and it can go. Let me see maps. Kind of close. Uh, mm, I think New York is closer. Where's Toronto? I'm lost here. Give me a second. What is this one? It's Quebec, Montreal, Ottawa. Oh, you're right. It's closer than. So yeah, it's way closer to New York, but it's also close to Chicago. Is that? Oh, Lake Superior is the other one. Lake Michigan. Like I see some content from an illustrator lady in TikTok that does like spooky lake month. So she speaks about creepy things about different lakes, and she made a book about it. And it's kind of interesting. So that's how I know about Lake Erie and Lake Superior. They're like gigantic lakes, and they have their own like it's their own environment. They're so big that it's like a mini sea of sorts. They don't seem to be that large, but they're gigantic in reality, as far as I know. Uh, so yeah, I had a friend that I have a friend that lived in Chicago for a while, but I've never been. I believe it's a really cool city. Oh, back to what I was saying. There's this comedian from Venezuela. I'm telling you this, and I'm remembering the story, and it's so funny. I don't know if he has a translated version of this, but it's on YouTube. He got lost. We Caracas, that is the main city of Venezuela, the capital, has a gigantic park similar to what I'm talking about, but that this park that I'm talking about doesn't have bears. The or maybe if it has, it they're really small, and yeah, they're not gonna be much danger. Um, I guess you can find some snakes, maybe, but they were probably wiped out by people hunting a jaguar. Maybe if I'm stretching it a lot. I don't think there are any left in that place. But it's the the part that is absolutely true is that it's gigantic. So it's like a this giant mountain that it's kind of like part of this system of mountains. Let me go look for it so I don't speak nonsense. Yeah, I think it's part. Yeah, I think it's part of the system that the Andes. Well, it's kind of where it starts. Well, you can look at it either way. Maybe you can consider it that it starts at the Patagonia and it goes all the way up to Venezuela. Yeah, mountain range, and it's a giant mountain, El Avila. So he got lost there, and I'm not going to spoil it, but you should listen to him talk about the whole story. Is like, dude, it's real that he went through that. He basically he's famous now. He kind of went famous before he uh, come on, what's his name? Uh, Give me a second. I'll just look for him. Uh, I'm so bad with names. I wish I was better with it. Maybe if I practice, I should just start practicing that. Um, Led Varela is his name. I don't want this to be. Uh, I don't want this to be claimed, so I'm just gonna mute this and let's see if I can share the video. That story is so funny. Yeah, it's like 29 minutes. Give me a second. I'll share it here. I don't know if I can share it on. I can share it here. Okay. Well, hopefully it goes through. There you go. Uh, yeah, it works. Oh my god, that that story. That's kind of the same feeling I had when we got lost, but he was actually lost. Like I don't know if it was like 3 days or a week. It was really rough, but he made a stand-up comedy about it. Uh, yeah. Uh, I think that's something that separates us from a lot of different cultures. We kind of make comedy, or we laugh off horrible things that happen to us or happens to us. Um, yeah, it's like a thing we have. But yeah, if you decide to check it out, um, it's really funny. Hopefully it you can put subtitles. I don't know if you can translate it. Maybe you can. That would be cool if you can. Mm, probably not. Anyway, he even has pictures about the thing. The thing. Sorry, because he well, I don't want to spoil it, but if you have the time, check it out. Anyhow, uh, I'm gonna leave this drawing up to this point and hopefully post it tomorrow. And yeah, I feel a little bit better now that I that I remember that story about getting lost in like about this comedian. It's really funny. Anyhow, thank you all for watching. I'll be ending the stream. So if you haven't, consider subscribing, hitting that like, hitting that bell, and all that good stuff. It helps me a bunch. If you want to check out more of the stuff I do, I have my deck of cards on my website. You can buy it from there. I also have some illustrations on Redbubble that you can buy in different presentations and products and so on. And yeah, you can also check out my website where I have other works I have done. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope to see you next time. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be at the same time. Uh, Good night. Hope to see you next time. Now I'll cut the stream. Let me find my music. Bye.